Hi, this is Pat Sheranian. It must be Monday because here I am. Thank you for joining us today. I do appreciate it. And I have a most wonderful guest with me today. All my guests are wonderful, but Larry's especially wonderful. So let me introduce you to Larry Barkdull. Now, many of you will recognize his name. He is a well-known LDS author. He also writes for MeridianMagazine.com, which is an online LDS magazine. And Larry, it is so good to have you here.
Good morning, Pat.
Good to see you in your bright yellow and perky today. I would like to have you understand who Larry is because he's very much a part of my life in many ways, he and his family. And I'm so proud of so many things that he has done, and some we have done together, and we're going to talk about that. But I'd like to start because he is a well-known LDS author, and I thought that one day not long ago, I need to write a book. We all have a book. But how does one get started, and where, and when does one have the idea? I mean, it's a little late to be thinking about writing a book. However, on the other hand, I have a life story to tell. So, Larry, you have written other books, but you haven't written your life story yet.
No, I haven't written my life story.
That's because he hasn't had time, because there are a couple of children in his family. So I'm going to let Larry start right here and talk to you a little bit about. He was born in Boise, Idaho, and then you take the ball and run.
Well, yes, I was born. I'm an Idaho boy, and that was wonderful growing up there, and it gave me a lot of wonderful memories that I've been able to draw from over the years to write books with. My first book was The Morning Dove, and it does take place in Boise, Idaho. I won't say it's autobiographical, but certainly. I drew from experiences there and modified, fictionalized them, and so forth. And that became a book called The Morning Dove, and it sold very well. It sold about 210,000 copies at this point.
I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah. and it did win an award for fiction, and it sells now very well in Japan. I'm surprised. It's up around 65,000 hardback copies in Japan, and so it's a phenomenon. It's hard to understand sometimes why a book takes off like that. Deseret Book is going to republish it in paperback this fall, which I'm grateful for.
Now, well, just a little bit about this story. Let's hear a little bit about that, because I happen to know a little bit about this story, and it's a lovely little story. It really is. And then I also want to ask, I know at one point somebody had taken an option on it to make a movie. So if we can kind of get up to date on that.
Yeah. The movie rights have been sold, and at this point, I think that the production company is still working on the financing for it. So it's not an immediate thing, but it's still in the offing. But this is a story. It's a kind of a modern day prodigal son story. It takes place in 1959, and it's sort of a coming of age story. A young boy has lost his parents in an accident. He's very young, and he goes to live with his widowed grandfather, and together they make a family. And in the process, they learn some stories about life. But it seems to touch a chord with people. It's a very short read, but most people can see themselves in the story, and I think that probably is why it resonated with them. Well,
I remember when I first read the book some years ago, and in fact, we were on another station, and we were promoting the book at the time, and it was one of those books you can't put down. You know, you start it and you don't want to put it down. And I remember years ago someone telling me that those are the kind of books that wind up being made into movies, where they're so compelling. And so I'm excited to find out where this thing is going to go.
Me too. I wish I had some control over it, but I don't. But I'm working with some very good people. But that book was published nationally, and it has had international play. And that launched me as a writer in 1996. I'd spent my life as a publisher. For many years, I had a music publishing company called Sonos Music, and we published the Tabernacle Choir Performance Library for those 9 years. And then I branched off into books, publishing books and art prints and so forth. And so over my lifetime, I've published about 600 products. And I had a lot of fun doing that. And then I sold my company in the early 90s, and that allowed me to spend time writing. And so my first book was The Morning Dove, and I followed that up with a book called The Touch of the Master's Hand. I've done a fair amount of writing on Zion, on the subject of Zion.
I'm curious about Touch of the Master's Hand, because we've heard that talk many times. and you put it in book form and story form. And you might just mention what that is about a little bit for people, younger people that perhaps haven't heard about it.
Well, The Touch of the Master's Hand, of course, is a very famous poem. And it's, I don't know, it might be 100 years old. I can't remember. It's very old. And so I took the poem and I adapted it into a story. Again, it's a short read like The Mourning Dove. And it sold very well in a number of different countries. At this point, it's a paperback book, and if you search for it, you can find it. It's not readily available, but it is available.
Is it on Amazon, do you think?
Oh, I think it probably is.
Okay.
But anyway, I've written a number of books, and then I did write some fictional books about the subject of Zion, the ancient city of Zion, and those again sold very well. And after that, I started.
Wait, you have to back up. I'm not letting him get away with this. He's got to tell us about the plot a little bit. Now, I read Zion Seeking the City of Enoch.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty good-sized book, and I was intrigued by that. I loved it. Some of the information was familiar, some was not. And so a question I've never asked you, Larry, how did it come to you to put this together? Because I feel it was, if you will, very inspired. It was inspiring to read it. So I want to know a little of the history. I don't know why I've never asked you that, but I haven't. So now's the time.
I've always been intrigued by the subject of Zion. And as I talked with people, I found out that there were a wide number of views about what Zion is. And the more I studied about it, the more I found out that mostly those were narrow views. And so I decided that I was going to launch into the subject. And at that particular moment in time, this was back in the late 90s, Gerald Lund was doing very well with his series, his church history series, The Work and the Glory. And so the idea of historical fiction was in at that time. And my friend Lance Richardson and my other friend Ron McMillan and I decided that we were going to research the subject of Zion and going to write about it. And so we formed a writing partnership. And the idea was to write 3 books on the subject of ancient Zion, fictionalize them. And that seemed to be a safe way to approach the subject because there's so very little known about the ancient city of Zion. We did find out that there was a fair amount of information in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and there are a lot of legends about Zion among the American Indian people, the Hopis and the Iroquois people and others. And there are interesting traditions about Zion out across the world. So the idea of Zion is sort of entrenched in the memory of peoples throughout the world, and they all seem to believe in some form of a utopia, a utopian society, which is a city of peace, a society of peace, and where certain things happen that are different than the kind of society that we live in right now, and so people long for it. And so we
wait. We think we have a Zion. We think we're a Zion people now.
We are, but there are other.
Are we that different?
I think that we would probably. I think that many of us would segue right into whatever the coming Zion society is going to be. I never tackle that subject about what the future Zion is going to look like. I don't even want to go there. I figure this is the territory of the prophet. We'll let him define that.
Very nice of you, Larry.
He doesn't need a Larry, the fictional writer, to try to step in front of him. So I avoid completely the idea of what the coming society is going to look like or how it's going to function. But when we were doing the fictional series, we decided that what we were going to do is pattern it after some incidents in church history. So we kind of married church history with that former Zion society and tried to marry it with the scriptures, the things that we did know, and some of the things we learned from the Dead Sea Scrolls, and try to make it sound as authentic as possible.
Now, you mentioned the series. I mentioned Zion Seeking the City of Enoch. Mm-hmm. So that stands alone as one book.
It does, and there was a second book called Zion: The Long Road to Sanctification, and that was the continuation of the story. And there was going to be a third book in the series called The Pure in Heart. And it was never written, and it probably never will be written. And the reason is that our friend Lance died.
That's right.
During that process.
Lance passed away.
He passed away, and he was central to the development of the story. And so, but I continued on with my research, and I did this for many, many years. I gathered, I can't tell you how many talks I gathered and the research that I did over those years. I have volumes and volumes and volumes of information about Zion. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it. But finally, when I looked up, I realized that what I had was, I had the information for that final book, except it wasn't fiction any longer. It was doctrinal. And so...
It'd be an exciting moment.
So I stepped forward. Yeah, I stepped forward and decided I was going to write a doctrinal series, and it's turned out to be an 8-volume doctrinal series.
It's one book. It's that big.
Well,
right?
It's not any longer.
Did you break it up?
I've broken it up into 7 books so far, and I'm writing.
We couldn't lift it, so we had to do something different.
And I'm writing the 8th book now.
Are you really?
Yes. It's called the series is called Pillars of Zion, and you can read all about it. In fact, you can even get free copies of it. The free PDFs. You can just go and just download them. It's my gift. You go to pillarsofzion.com. And just
let's say that again. Pillars of Zion.
Yeah, pillarsofzion.com.
Okay.
PILLARS of Zion.com. You just enter your email address. You're on our email list. It takes you to a download page, and you can just download the PDFs for free. So my gift to the members of the church.
That's really very generous. And I know how many hours now. You know, I've known, as I mentioned, Larry a long time, and his favorite place to be is locked into his office in the basement of his home. And while all of this is going on and all of his writing, we should take a moment here to say that he does not live alone. His time is not his own, and I always admire authors who, in spite of everything, become very good at what they're doing and actually write books that are so choice that we can't live without them and reading them and keeping them in our library. So let's just stop just a minute here and say, okay, what was Larry doing and going on in your household while these things were happening?
Well, we have my wife and I have 10 children. Yeah, we live in Orem, and again, there's always something going on with those 10 children. We've faced some pretty serious health challenges with them over the years. We've been married for 40 years. And so, I mean, I don't have to elaborate. It's just, with 10 children, you're going to have a lot going on and every possible scenario. So,
Wait, I do want to mention a couple of things because it's been remarkable. I have been in the health industry a long time, but on the end of hung up on a word here. Other than medication and they have had to go every route you can think of, alternative medicine, prescription, because 4 of your children were hemophiliacs?
We have 3 boys who have hemophilia, and we have 2 daughters who are carriers. And we have a grandson now that has hemophilia. So that's a bleeding disorder. The blood doesn't coagulate properly, and so they hemorrhage unless they have some medicine. And one of the sons did experience kidney failure. He's experienced kidney failure twice. I donated a kidney the first time, and my daughter Katie donated a kidney the second time. So we've done that. We've done West Nile virus and hepatitis and Crohn's disease, and so you name it.
We're laughing about it, but every once in a while I'd say, Larry, what's going on? And I couldn't believe that they were all surviving, and they have all survived. And you've got married children and grandkids now. And,
yes.
And my favorite person, McKay, got through high school.
Yeah, he's our baby.
and you're practically an empty nester.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? So we're looking forward to the next season and the wonderful opportunities out there. But anyway, yeah, my life as a writer has been really wonderful. I've written a book called Rescuing Wayward Children, which I think has probably done more good than any book I've ever written.
Was that the subject? You were a speaker at BYU?
Yes, I'm a presenter at BYU
Yeah.
Education Week.
Yeah, and that was one of the subjects?
That is the subject.
Was it? You want to say something more about the book or where it can be
Well,
found?
it looks like
or?
we have a commercial break, so I'll let
Oh,
you tell
all
you.
right. We need to take a commercial break. Goodness, have we already been going 15 minutes? I can't believe it. This is Pat Sheranian and Larry Barkdull. We'll be back in a few minutes. In business since 1980, RIMS has served Utah property owners and condominium associations for nearly 3 decades. Today, RIMS stands as one of Utah's largest and most reputable management firms. Whether your property is large or small, a homeowners association or an individual condominium, an apartment community or a single-family home, a student housing complex or an office or retail center, RIMS will provide all the necessary management and maintenance expertise you need to achieve your goals without sacrificing any of the personal and responsive care you expect from your property management company. Call 801-375-5595. Looking to rent a property that RIMS manages? Go to remsinc.com or call 801-375-5595.
When you think about an auto body shop, what services come to mind? Collision repair? Ding removal? Painting and detailing? How about headlight repair? Power window repair and carpet cleaning? Casey's Bend and Mend in Provo will take those unwanted bends out of your vehicle and mend it back to great shape. For 15 years, Casey's Bend and Mend owner, Kevin Stubbs, has been using his artistry to get you back on the road looking good. Personable and approachable, Kevin will provide a free estimate and offers discounts to students and self-pay clients, in addition to working with all the insurance companies. Trust your vehicle to a craftsman, someone who will give you personal service and care. Casey's Bend and Mend, located at 85 East, 600 South in Provo. Give Kevin at Casey's Bend and Mend a call at 801-374-0930. You bend 'em, we mend 'em. Are you looking to create another revenue stream in 2012? Are you willing to put out the effort, generate some cash flow? Pat Sheranian is seeking 10 motivated individuals to join her Kyani team as independent distributors. Earn as much as you are willing to work for selling Kyani Sunrise, Sunset, Nitro FX, and Nitro Extreme. These great products are helping thousands of people enjoy better health and an improved financial situation. The most successful Kyani independent distributors started by trying the Kyani products, just as you can, virtually risk-free, as Kyani offers a 30-day money-back satisfaction guarantee. Try them and don't like them, and you'll get your money back, less the shipping costs. So many people today are challenged by obesity and diabetes, or don't have enough money for their needs, and they aren't doing anything about it. Don't be one of them. Call Pat Sheranian at 801-362-9552 to find out more about Kyani and what it can do for your health and for your wealth. That's 801-362-9552.
We're back. This is Pat Sheranian. Thank you for staying with us. We appreciate it. We appreciate our ads also, the folks that advertise with us. We're very grateful for that. It keeps us on the air. And my guest today is Larry Barkdull, and we're talking about his life and his books and his family, and in the middle of all of his trials, and as we all have with family, often, and more often some than others. And in the middle of this, he's written this marvelous book, and he was 1 year you've been at BYU for
Yes,
education.
I'm coming up on my second year
Are
there
you?
as a presenter.
And it's on rescuing wayward children. And I thought anybody that has children, even if it's you just have the one child, even if you have not had children, you're aware that this is a very an incredible time of life. It's so difficult. Everything is available to them, which is wonderful. But the downside is everything is available to them.
Right. And when I started down the road of this book, Rescuing Wayward Children, I was aware of some of the hard things that were going on, but I wasn't clear about the extent of it. I just had some friends of mine about a year ago who went to a young adult conference in Southern California. And there are 93,000 single young adults in Southern California. 13,000 of them are active in the church. Worldwide, we are losing 50% of our youth before they marry, including return missionaries. It's an absolute epidemic. There's hardly any family in the church that isn't touched by it. So it's a screaming need. But it was, interestingly, it was foreseen by Mormon, and he wrote about it, and he gave us an antidote for this plague that we're dealing with right now. And so Rescuing Wayward Children is a really serious, in-depth look at the plan of salvation and the powers that are available to us as parents to partner with the Lord and to help our children have a conversion opportunity. And we can't force anybody into anything, but there are things in the scriptures that we can be taught that show us the kinds of powers that are available to us if we're just acquainted with them and apply ourselves. And so this book is unlike anything. It's not a psychological book. I'm not a psychologist. I'm a dad. The only letters after my name are DAD. So
well, we all need help, and
we
that's
all
for
do.
sure.
We all
because
do.
I thought once I had my children raised, I thought, okay, they've turned out pretty good, and that's great, and I'm excited about that. But then they have children, and they have children.
And we live in a very, very wicked world,
and it's difficult.
and a very difficult time right now. And there are a lot of competing ideas, and there are a lot of competing forces. And it's been foreseen, it's been prophesied that this is the time of the earth when Satan is going to rage, and it's working. He has a very effective strategy, and he's unleashing forces that we can't even comprehend. And so we see a lot of casualties out there. But I've gathered up many promises by the prophets that basically this is going to turn out okay. We just need to know. We need to have that kind of hope, and we need to know how to step into that kind of a future.
So, Larry, is Rescuing the Wayward Children, is it a how-to book or informational or spiritual based?
I try to avoid the how-to books. I'm trying to give people enough information so that they can apply things in their lives. Again, I'm not trying to be a psychologist. People call me from all over the world. It's incredible. I finally had to take my email off of my articles because I was spending half of my day just trying to answer parents. But I do.
Well, there's desperation.
There's desperation, but I try to explain what I would explain to them. I've already explained in the book. It's just a lot easier. But this book continues to sell well. I give firesides. I speak at Education Week. I do what I can do to give parents not only hope, but information that they can apply immediately. And it works. I get back letters that from parents, and they're seeing incredible miracles that happen in their lives where they had absolutely no hope before. Well,
and with 10 children, and I've known them all since they were born, they are great kids. But along the way, Larry has had some challenges. He and Buffy, his wife, Elizabeth, have had some challenges with children.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
From that standpoint, I think it's given you greater empathy.
Oh, absolutely.
And a deeper understanding of what other parents go through who perhaps aren't as grounded in the church. The kids aren't as grounded as yours have been.
Absolutely. So is there hope? Absolutely. Is it going to turn out well? Almost certainly. So how do we get between here and there? Well, then we need to learn a few things and apply them in our lives. We need to put to work the things that we've
Could you mention
received.
A couple of things?
Well, there's great power in the covenants. We need to become more acquainted with the covenants we have, the power that's there. There's great power in the ordinances. There's great power in just the basics, if we understand what the basics are. We don't have a lot of time on this program, but I can just tell you one of the really fascinating scriptures is in the I can't remember exactly right now the reference, but it's in John. It's in the intercessory prayer of the Lord. And he makes a remarkable statement. It's very short, hardly ever talked about. But as he's praying to the Father, he says, for their sakes, meaning the disciples, I sanctify myself, that they might also be sanctified. And this is a very interesting statement because we think immediately, why does the Lord have to sanctify him, say he's perfect. And so then we have to start defining terms. What does sanctification mean? What does purification mean? John 17:19. Thank you. And once we start to understand what he did, what he meant by sanctification, what he was going to do, then we can go back in his life and see what he did. And he just did the basics. He was obedient. He entered into the law of sacrifice. He partook of the sacrament. He performed vicarious sacrifice. So when you start looking at these things that he did, you say, well, we can do exactly the same thing with the same result. So parents can sanctify themselves in the model, in the same way that the Lord did. And he went through that process so that he could redeem other people. And likewise, we can follow that model so that we can become saviors and help in the redemption process.
We do have a chat room. If you are watching us anywhere in the world, we are archived, and but at this time we have a live chat room. If you would like to chat with us, it's utahvalleylive.com. And if you happen to be watching it live today, just pat.utahvalleylive.com. And if you're on radio, you can't call in today. I don't have anybody taking the calls, but you can certainly get to a computer and come in the chat room and ask a question. And I might add, Larry doesn't know this, but we're going to be doing some new things on our format, and we're going to have a lot more LDS information. Okay. And people like yourself who are interested in coming on and reaching a lot of people in your hour worldwide. It's going to become more of a missionary tool, which I'm very excited about that. Good. This is the brainstorm of one of my sons, and so I'm terribly excited to have that unfold. Well, before we run out of this half hour, I do want to, as we talk about the wayward children, let's tell folks how they can find that.
Well, Rescuing Wayward Children is a book. It's available. Covenant Communications is the publisher of it, so it's available in substantially every LDS book outlet. I do write about it continuously on meridianmagazine.com.
Good place to go.
You can subscribe to that for free all over the world. It's a very large internet LDS magazine that's carried throughout the world. I think that they're in over 200 countries around the world with over 85,000 daily subscribers. I write for them on Wednesdays, but all of my articles are archived with them. And I write about the subject of Zion, and I write about rescuing wayward children, so there's a lot of information there. Also, one really nice thing that's happened to me, a really nice blessing, is that Meridian Magazine is going to go Spanish.
Oh, good.
And I served a mission in Argentina, so this is very exciting for me. So I've been asked to be one of the contributors in Spanish. And so now we're going to reach out to the Spanish saints across the world, and this is going to greatly increase the numbers of people that we can influence and
I
help.
Think that's great.
So
that's great.
And that'll happen in August. So there are a lot of nice things that are happening, and it gives me a worldwide audience that I can talk to. And I'm
good. That's exciting.
That's very nice for me.
We're going to go to commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about. We'll just mention it. If you're at home watching us on a computer while we're in the break, you may want to go to, just gospelideals.org. Gospel Ideals, right?
Gospelideals.org. That's my nonprofit
And
foundation.
We're going to talk about this nonprofit foundation, the reason for it being, what Larry's hope and dream for it, and it's beginning to unfold. And one of the avenues that he has chosen to fund this particular organization. So you're going to want to hear about this because it has a world impact, and you're going to be part of it. Those of you that choose to be involved with us. So this is Pat Sheranian and Larry Barkdull. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. Thank you.
Has bad credit got you stuck? Bad credit can cost you thousands of dollars a year in extra charges, fees, interest, and insurance costs. Are you sure you want to waste all that hard-earned money? Vantage Credit Alliance, a local top-rated national credit repair company, has attorneys that attack the credit bureaus using the laws of the Fair Credit Reporting Act to get negatives removed off your credit report. In fact, they are so good that they average a 127-point increase in just 4 to 6 months, an astounding increase compared with any other credit repair company in the nation. This means that Vantage, you get your credit scores in the 700s or higher. It means that you can buy that dream house, get that car you've always wanted, invest instead of watching opportunities go by and missing your dreams. The great part, it's affordable. In fact, you can save the cost of credit repair with Vantage Credit Alliance many times over in the first year alone. You owe it to yourself to get a great credit score and start saving your hard-earned money instead of wasting on high interest and insurance rates. It doesn't have to be that way. Call 801-769-9443 to get a free credit analysis that will show you what has to be done to get your credit scores back. Just visit us at www.vantageca.com and set an appointment today.
Hi, I'm Roger Strong. I'm here to tell you about Tidbits of Utah County. No death, divorce, devastation, or destruction, just good news for good people. You'll find us everywhere in Utah Valley, in doctors' offices, restaurants, mechanic shops, anywhere that people wait. We have over 35 features of fun, family-friendly entertainment. To find a paper or to advertise, call Roger at 801-616-6288. Again, that's Roger at 801-616-6288. We're Tidbits of Utah County, the happy paper for Happy Valley.
Are you an athlete looking for a natural boost to your workout? Have you studied up on the benefits of nitric oxide production to your performance? Then you'll want to try Kyani's Nitro Extreme. Nitro Extreme promotes cardiovascular health and improved blood flow, supports muscle contraction and relaxation, as well as nerve transmission. I use Nitro Extreme right before I lift weights, and I've never been stronger in my entire life. If you don't try Nitro Extreme, you'll never know what you're missing. Call 801-362-9552 to order yours today. That's 801-362-9552.
When you think about an auto body shop, what services come to mind? Collision repair? Ding removal? Painting and detailing? How about headlight repair? Power window repair and carpet cleaning? Casey's Bend and Mend in Provo will take those unwanted bends out of your vehicle and mend it back to great shape. For 15 years, Casey's Bend and Mend owner, Kevin Stubbs, has been using his artistry to get you back on the road looking good. Personable and approachable, Kevin will provide a free estimate and offers discounts to students and self-pay clients, in addition to working with all the insurance companies. Trust your vehicle to a craftsman, someone who will give you personal service and care. Casey's Bend and Mend, located at 85 East, 600 South in Provo. Give Kevin at Casey's Bend and Mend a call at 801-374-0930. You bend 'em, we mend 'em.
Hi, this is Pat Sheranian and Larry Barkdull. He's my guest today. I'm going to try and figure out how to keep him here every week because he's got so much information. I've just mentioned to him that we are going to be doing more LDS programs on air, and we're excited about that. We are on 1480 AM and UtahValleyLive.com. And Larry, we were just mentioning your foundation, and I'd like to explore that because you've worked on this. I know personally you've worked on it for 7 or 8 years.
Yes.
To bring it into being. And so I'm going to ask Larry if he'll just simply tell you the story about how this came about, because the gospelideals.org has really had an impact already in a number of lives. But wait until you hear this.
Well, that's very kind.
And this is the rest of the story, okay?
Well, as you know, I'm an LDS writer, and I was looking for. We all look for a way to expand our reach, and back in 2003, I think, or something like, I had a client who was very involved on the internet, and he was having me write all sorts of different kinds of things: sales letters, love letters, anything we could do to sell a product. And it was during that stint that I began to learn something about internet writing and the reach of it, and I was really quite impressed. And so the thought came into my mind that we could take this same science that internet marketers use to reach out and sell products, and we could reach out and talk to people about the gospel and provide an interest there. The interesting thing about this is that people we're never imposing ourselves upon them. People are searching for an answer. They type it into Google. They're looking for something. One of our articles pops up as an option. They choose to read our article, and then we have a call to action, and people can respond to that if they want to. So throughout the entire process, they're making choices, and so and what we're trying to do is we're trying to direct the traffic over to Mormon.org, where people can take an action. They can choose to chat with a missionary, or they can choose to receive a Book of Mormon, or a visit from a missionary, or some kind of an action. And so we're simply just trying to help the church by sending traffic over to Mormon.org on subjects that other people would typically be uninterested in.
Didn't you run some kind of a little test to see how many people would be interested in those?
The reach is just unbelievable.
Phenomenal.
I just, as a little experiment one day, I took that little book called True to the Faith. I went through the index or the table of contents, and I think there were 160 terms. I ran them through a little Google tool and found out that there are something like 416 million people a month who are searching for those terms. And so it gives you an idea. That's just in English. It doesn't
just
include,
in English,
just in English. And so the reach is just unbelievable.
But wait,
on the
let
internet.
me back up just a minute. So the search terms, let's just mention a few for people that might not know exactly what we're saying
Oh,
here.
it could be something they're looking for on marriage and family, overcoming an addiction, the law of chastity. You can just go down the list.
Baptism, faith.
Yeah, anything like that. The people, it's just amazing. Sometimes people are just looking for phrases out of the scriptures. It's astonishing to me. I put in a phrase I just grabbed one out of the air. I think it was something out of Isaiah 50 something. I can't remember what it was right now. And there were several thousand people a month that were searching for that. So the audience.
So you knew the audience was there.
The audience is there. And I knew that getting content was easy. I'm involved with LDS writers. Content is a snap for me. That's usually the hard part about a program like this. But for me, content is simple. But the science is hard. So I took over the last 8 years, I've just been learning the science. I've been working with people who are experts in the field. What we've developed is a website that's called gospelideals.org. And our intention there is to invite LDS writers to come and add content to it. We teach them how to do it.
When you say this, you've invited LDS authors or writers to contribute content.
Yes.
Now, can they reach you through a phone number or an email on the website? How can that
They can just go to the website there, and there's a thing that says About Us, and they can reach us.
Okay.
And they'll be introduced to our managing editor, Tristy Pinkston.
Okay.
And she's managing all of this for me. She works with the authors. We have editors involved now. And so we've got a staff of people who donate their time and their talents. This is sort of, if you build it, they will come. And sure enough, we've built a website and
they've come.
Made it available to LDS writers so that they can become missionaries with a little bit of their time and their talent. And so it's a labor of love, but it has the potential of reaching out to literally millions of people. And there's lots of other things that we're going to do with this science. But one of the things I think we're going into right now is that this kind of a project is terribly expensive. There is a lot that we can do with donated time and volunteers, but we can't do everything because the technology is just simply too expensive.
Well, you can't pull people off of paying jobs and have them come in and donate their time.
No, not on everything.
Now, I need to mention right here, because I love big productions. I always have. I like reaching a gazillion people. That's just very exciting to me. If you have the right information, and Larry's right, you build it, they will come, and they have. And his dream, as I recall when we first talked about this a few years ago, was to build 1,000 websites. Are you still going that direction?
Oh, it'll be many more than that, but we can do that all on the one website now. So we've learned how to do that. So the idea of doing individual websites is now no longer an idea because it's not necessary. There's enough science about doing it on one website that we know how to do it. So, but it'll be
available.
Thousands and thousands of kind of sub websites to this major one. And but again, I was struggling with how do you fund something that this is this massive. And especially when we start thinking in terms of translations and all of the, we have to add YouTube into it, and all of the social media and all the kinds of things that are available to us to trying to drive traffic. How do you do that? Without some kind of really robust funding. And so I was on the search for a funding mechanism, and this is right in the middle of the Great Recession.
Has it been 2 years ago? About 3 years ago?
Yeah, I was actively looking for some kind of a funding mechanism, and there was another thought that was going through my mind, and this is that our 10 children were now pretty much out of the house. We have still the younger ones there, but I could see in the future, within the next couple of years, that we were going to be empty nesters, and we've been married for 40 years, and all of the money has gone one direction for all of those years. So the idea of being able to save something for retirement has just been a foreign idea for us. We've never had enough to meet all of the demands. So I was looking for a way to retire and go on a mission someday and be mobile, and
yep.
And the only options, and also to fund this this missionary project. And I didn't come up with a lot of good options. I mean, one of them was try to live on Social Security, which is a joke.
Impossible, yes, for everybody.
The other one was work forever, and that's assuming that I have the health, and I could actually find employment. And then the other one is, of course, move in with the kids. So there aren't really any good options. So the other option is if I really want to have a retirement, if I really want to be able to spend my time doing this missionary project and other nonprofit things, then I am going to have to find some kind of a funding engine, some kind of a mechanism that's going to make that happen. And so I was searching, and the answer came to me in kind of a remarkable way, something I wasn't expecting at all. A dear friend of mine, Mary Louise Zeller, happened to run into my wife at the grocery store. It was one of those happy coincidences. And she began to tell her about a company called Kayani. And my wife listened to her for about an hour, and she came home, and she said, "Larry, I think that you need to call Mary Louise." Well, my wife, in 40 years of marriage, had never once made a suggestion about my career. And so I listened to her, and I made a call to Mary Louise, and she told me about this company called Kayani. It was a really foreign idea for me, and I said, "This is network marketing, isn't it?" And she said, "Yes," and I quickly tuned out. I just thought, I can't do this. I've tried it before. They don't work. It's a broken industry. I don't like these things. All these objections went through my mind. And yet this other thing that my wife had suggested that I go take a look at this kept rolling through my mind. And so I put aside my prejudices, and I tried to open up my mind, and I listened to it. And I had one of the greatest discoveries and blessings of my entire life. Absolutely. And you were the first call.
Well, at least today you didn't call me a guinea pig. You did at a meeting the other night and said, "Pat was my first guinea pig." So Larry called me up. July in 2010. And he started talking about this. I said, "Larry, stop. I've been CEO of network marketing companies. I've been taking different products for years and years and years, and they're just not what they are purported to be." And he said, "You've got to listen to me this time. I think it's called pulling a friendship card." So he said, "For friendship, would you go and listen to Mary Louise Zeller?" And the rest is history. But I would like you to share with our audience, really and truly, your story about what has happened. And then I'll talk a little bit about mine if we have time left. And because you know the products and you know what they've done for you. And now you're in a position where he's won cruises. He and his wife have been able to go on a cruise. And this is a secret that he probably doesn't want me to tell, so I'll just tell you, the listening audience. They have had a Suburban that is older than... It's old. It really is an old car. It's been around a very, very long time. And it's big because it hauled all these children around. And in this company, Larry's going to tell you how he has gotten a brand new car in a very short period of time And he and his wife are tootling around in a car that is absolutely wonderful, brand new, first ever.
It is. And
I turn it back over to you now.
And it is actually astonishing to me that we're driving around in an Audi A4 that I don't have to pay for. It's the smallest, most expensive car I've ever had in my life, and I don't have to pay a thing. So it's really a strange experience to have that going on in my life. But we're of course very grateful for these things. So it looks like they're saying we have to have a commercial break, and then I'll tell my story.
And we'll be right back to finish the story. This is Pat Sheranian and Larry Barkdull. Don't you dare move. You want to hear the rest of the story. We'll be right back. In business since 1980, RIMS has served Utah property owners and condominium associations for nearly 3 decades. Today, RIMS stands as one of Utah's largest and most reputable management firms. Whether your property is large or small, a homeowners association or an individual condominium, an apartment community or a single-family home, a student housing complex or an office or retail center, RIMS will provide all the necessary management and maintenance expertise you need to achieve your goals without sacrificing any of the personal and responsive care you expect from your property management company. Call 801-375-5595. Looking to rent a property that RIMS manages? Go to remsinc.com or call 801-375-5595.
Are you looking to create another revenue stream in 2012? Are you willing to put out the effort to generate some cash flow? Pat Sheranian is seeking 10 motivated individuals to join her Kyani team as independent distributors. Earn as much as you are willing to work for selling Kyani Sunrise, Sunset, Nitro FX, and Nitro Extreme. These great products are helping thousands of people enjoy better health and an improved financial situation. The most successful Kyani independent distributors started by trying the Kyani products, just as you can, virtually risk-free, as Kyani offers a 30-day money-back satisfaction guarantee. Try them and don't like them, and you'll get your money back, less the shipping costs. So many people today are challenged by obesity and diabetes, or don't have enough money for their needs, and they aren't doing anything about it. Don't be one of them. Call Pat Sheranian at 801-362-9552 to find out more about Kyani and what it can do for your health and for your wealth. That's 801.
Drowning in debt? Overwhelming debt can cost you thousands of dollars a year in extra charges, fees, penalties, and interest costs. Are you sure you want to waste all that hard-earned money? Vantage Credit Alliance, a local, top-rated national debt settlement company, has attorneys that negotiate a settlement of your debt using strategies to also remove the negative off your credit report. This saves you 7 years of bad luck because it's just not there anymore. It's as if it never happened, increasing your credit scores instantly and saving you thousands of dollars in interest and insurance costs that you just don't have to pay anymore. Vantage Credit Alliance is first in the nation and is the only one in the nation to use this dynamic technique to reduce your debt, pay off your bills, increase your credit scores, save you thousands, and get you back in the game. If you have $10,000 or more in debt, call today and start getting creditors off your back. Call 801-769-9443 to get a free debt analysis. Call us today at 801-769-9443.
Oh, good grief. Oh, hello, we're back. I didn't hear the countdown. I was busy coughing. Pat Sheranian here on Utah Valley Live and 1480 AM and Larry Barkdull. And we were just in the middle of telling a story about the Kyani Company, KYANI.net, if you're interested in looking that up. But it has changed Larry's life. It changed mine. So I'm going to let Larry go into it and tell his story.
I have to say that network marketing is a very strange idea for me. I mean, I sit behind a computer. I have done for years and just focus on the computer and write words. It's a very lonely job. I like it, but it's what I know. And so to do something that's this different was a strange leap for me, and yet my need was so great. I had to do something. Simply had to do something different. If we were ever going to have any kind of a retirement, if I was ever going to have any funding that I could push into my nonprofit, I had to have something else happening in my life. And so when I looked at this company, I've been in business for myself long enough to know that there are things that a company simply has to be, otherwise it's just not a good opportunity. And I could think of four things it's like four legs on a chair, and if one of those legs is missing, the chair is going to fall over. One of the things is the company has to be very well financed. This is the problem of most failures. 90% of the companies are going to fail within the first year or so because of a financial problem, or that their owners aren't honest, or perhaps they're not very capable people. And so, but that little package of financing and integrity and capability is the first leg. And these people who own the company, they're billionaires. They have very, very successful companies, and they know how to build $1 billion a year company. And they're not from this industry at all, but they chose this industry because of its dynamic growth potential. The second leg on the stool is that a company has to have really, really good products that affect the lives of substantially everything, of everybody, and those products have to be proprietary. In other words, you can't just run down to the grocery store or down to the health food store and pick up another version of them. So unless there's something that's exclusive about these products, and unless the science that are surrounding them is really, really good, you can't build a company because you just have a fad. And we've seen those kind of companies come and go. Well, these products come from Alaska, interestingly enough. They come from a long study among the Tlingit people up there who are indigenous to Alaska. And these people happen to be some of the most healthy people on the planet. They have no heart disease, no cancer, no diabetes, no arthritis. And so in this long study, the scientists tried to determine what was it about these people that made them so healthy. And they finally decided that it was their diet. And their diet consists of wild Alaskan blueberries and wild Alaskan sockeye salmon. And so then the study shifted to, so what's so special about these foods? And came to find out that these are some of the most powerful anti-inflammatories, antioxidants in the world. And I didn't understand the science at all, so I went to a doctor friend of mine, and I said, what's the deal about this? And he said, well, when you first go to medical school, the first thing that they teach you is that free radicals cause inflammation, and inflammation causes disease. So it just stands to reason that if you could combat the free radicals in the first place, that there wouldn't be any inflammation in your body and you'd be a healthier person. And so you can start to see why these products are so powerful. So I tried them out on you.
He did, and they worked. I have been diabetic for 14 years up till 2010, and adult onset diabetes, and taking medication daily, several times a day. And then I was also high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and I had very crippling arthritis in my hands. I could get them about like this. Holding a steering wheel was extremely painful. I'd reached a point where my knees were just killing me. So Larry calls, and I went through, I don't want to do this. And finally, I went and met Mary Louise. And as we went through the product, she also gave me some samples of the drink called Sunrise, which is mostly blueberries from Alaskan tundra. And so as I drank this, I thought, well, this tastes pretty good. And she gave me a couple of other samples. There are 3 products at that time. There's now a 4th. And they worked. And so 3 days later, I thought, my goodness, my blood sugars are so low. I was really concerned because, they were hovering right around with medication 120, 119, sometimes 116. But now they were at 70, and I thought, good grief. So I called the doctor very quickly, and he said, well, you have a choice. I told him about Kyani. He said, stop taking the healthy drink that you're taking, or stop taking the medication. So I stopped the medication, of course. And that was, 23 months ago, and I haven't had any medication since then for diabetes. But then within another week, my blood pressure came down, and I called him, and he said, well, whatever you're taking. And I said, Kyani. And he said, keep taking it because it's lowering your blood pressure. And I thought, this is great. So I also stopped the medication for cholesterol. And then before the July, that month was over with, I found myself running up and down the stairs. I'm in a three-level home, and I didn't have any pain. And guess what? I can close my hands. Suddenly I could close my hands. Well, for me, it was all a miracle deal. And I haven't looked back. No medications, saved me a truckload of money, and I feel great. Well, then the bonus was the energy.
Yeah, the bonus is the energy.
The incredible energy that has
the
come.
products are just absolutely astounding. And for me, I was facing a shoulder replacement joint because of the arthritis here. And I was in so much pain. And after, my story was not quite as quick as yours. I had to be on the products for a couple of months. But I have absolutely no pain. I have a full range of motion. And I'm not, I no longer am faced with any kind of a surgery. And we hear these stories over and over and over and over again. They're just not. Are we going to go on the air and say that these products are a cure-all? Absolutely not. But by and large, people get relief, and we can't go through everything right now. I mean, we can say that there's one of the products derives from a 1998 study that won the Nobel Prize for Medicine. These are just wonderful products. So if you don't have a company that's well-financed, if you don't have a product line that's like this proprietary, you don't have a company.
Right.
And then you've got to have a really, really fair and a robust way to pay your sales force. And this is where all network marketing companies fail. They have done for 60 years. It's just remarkable how they never have been able to fix this. The compensation plans are built for a few people, but they're not built for the masses. And so consequently, people can't win. They think they can win, but they can't win. But in Kyani, they fixed that. They have a completely new model of compensation plan that's paying out between 2 to 5 times more than other plans, and it's built for the masses instead of the few. So it allows a regular guy like me, who's not a big network marketing professional, allows me to win. It allows me to go to work, and I know I'm going to get paid fairly, and in fact, it works. And so these are the kinds of things. And then finally, the last thing is the opportunity. The opportunity is huge. Kyani is at that breakout point right now across the world. I can't believe that just sitting here in Orem that I've got a team that covers 14 countries across the world. I can't believe that I have that kind of a reach. And I'm nobody special. So if I can do it, you can do it. And this has solved the problem in my life of how am I going to have a retirement for my wife and me. How are we going to be able to go on a mission? How are we going to be mobile? How are we going to be able to pay off our debts? And how am I going to be able to spend my time in this nonprofit and help to fund it? It's been a wonderful blessing for me. I hope that if you're interested in this, I hope that you'll call Pat. She's one of my best leaders. And we're having a meeting. You can come and join us, meet us both.
Let me give you a phone number, 801-362-9552, 801-362-9552. Now, if you call me, I'll give you directions to the home. Because it's a home, I don't want to give the address out publicly, of course. But do give me a call, and there's no pressure. You go. We have a little mix and mingle at 7 o'clock.
Some good food.
It's in North Orem. If you're watching us and you're not in the state of Utah, and you would like to know more about it, please call me on that number, 801-362-9552, 362-9552. The next meeting is going to be this Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, actually, at Mary Louise Zeller's. Mm-hmm. And so we're excited. If you would like to be part of it, we would like to have you there. And you can hear the rest of all of the stories, because Larry didn't get a chance to talk about his foundation the way that I really wanted him to. So we're going to go into that some more. So come and say hello. Let us meet you. We'll talk about your health issues, your wealth issues, and see if we can solve both of them at the same time. And getting a new car within a month and a half is really fun, and there's not another company on the planet that can offer that. Larry got the new car. I've got it sitting waiting for me to pick up, and others are getting a brand new $40,000+ car. And it isn't hard work. You just have to do a little bit every day. This is Pat Sheranian, thanking you for being with us, and Larry Barkdull. Again, Larry, thanks for being with me.
Thank you, Pat.
Have a great day.